Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, 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 hello. Hi, Julie. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. If you'd like, please type in the chat where you're tuning in from. We had about 10 other people signed up, so I'm going to give everybody just a couple of minutes to get in here. Who misses this? Hello, hello. Welcome to Beyond Trying. My name is Ilse Greatorex-Duncan. I'm a regenerative health practitioner and holistic hormone specialist. And specifically, I love to niche into reproductive health and fertility. It's my favorite area to work with, helping women have happy, healthy babies as much as possible. You're in the UK. That's amazing. Welcome, welcome. All right. So I do have a presentation that I'm going to share with you all. So I'm going to pull that up right now. And just so that you know a little bit more about me and my background before we dive into all the nitty-gritty details here, I never thought I was going to be a health practitioner in the health field at all. I was drawn into this because of my own health crisis. And through my healing journey, not only did I step out of chronic pain, but also endometriosis and deep hormonal imbalance that really made my life miserable for quite a while. And now I am deeply passionate about conscious conception and really preparing your body for pregnancy on a whole deeper level than a lot of people think about, and illuminating what the body really needs in order to create the perfect environment internally for a healthy pregnancy and conception to happen naturally. Because we can all do it, and sometimes we just need some extra steps or some extra de-stressing, so to speak. So that's what we are going to dive into here. I am a certified regenerative health practitioner, health coach, life coach. I work with a lot of different somatic approaches and helping regulate the nervous system as well as working with the physical body. Because I do believe that when we are working on reversing something deep or really supporting the body on to do a big task like having a baby, if we're struggling, there may be many different aspects that we need to look at in order to bring the body together as a whole. So, this workshop is going to be about why trying harder isn't always the answer, and what actually allows the body to open up and conceive and have a healthy baby. So if we have any questions that come up, feel free to put them in the chat. If I miss them, I'll go over it as soon as I can or at the end, and we can discuss things and have a little Q&A if you like. So this isn't about fixing your body. I want to get out of the fixing and there's something wrong with me kind of state of mind. This isn't about doing more because I know so many of us have done so many things, right? And just throwing spaghetti at the wall and trying anything that could possibly work. But this is really about understanding how the body prepares for life and why trying harder can work against this process, and how most fertility frustration comes from the misunderstanding of how the body actually works in the order and the sequence that it focuses on. So, we're going to dive into all those details. So if you're here, you've likely done a lot. You may have, or maybe you're at the beginning of your journey. But I know a lot of women who might be here today could have been working on tracking their cycles, adjusting the food and supplements, all of the things, and doing different protocols or IVF, and just searching for answers religiously, so to speak. And none of this is wrong, and frequently we're just trying so many random things and not quite putting them together in the way that the body can actually be like, okay, I get the full reset. There's some discombobulation going on and some stress that's overtaking our system and not allowing us to open. But effort alone doesn't equal readiness. The physiological body needs to be prepped in a certain way, and there are steps that we can take to get there. So, preparation is not failure. So, put a one in the chat if you have been trying and you have reached a zone where you're like, nothing is working. Or put a two in the chat if you're in the zone of like, okay, I'm still exploring all of the ways of things and I'm not quite at the fed up, I'm failed zone of things. Because there are many different stages that we can go through on a fertility journey. And I'm just curious where you ladies are at today. Because the body frequently needs more preparation than we might think to build another human if we are depleted in some way. So the body will not create life in an acidic, congested, or inflamed terrain frequently. So delayed fertility often means the body is prioritizing elimination and repair. And the reproduction is actually like the last system to receive resources, because if we're in fight or flight, our body's like, oh, we don't know the difference between running from a tiger or having an argument with our spouse or our boss, and it's routing all of our energy towards like, oh, we got to run, we got to survive, and reproduction is not in that category. So frequently we get frustrated when we're trying all of these things and we're trying harder and harder and the stress is building, and this is actually turning our reproductive system farther and farther off from where we want to be. So from a regenerative perspective, fertility is actually the last thing the body restores. First, the body has to make sure that the waste is moving through, the fluids are flowing, the tissues are getting the nourishment that they need in order to support life. So if elimination and repair aren't complete in the ways that the body thinks is necessary, reproduction waits. So not because the body can't do it, but it's protecting you and the future baby. And I know it's a sensitive subject, but I do believe that even miscarriages, if we've had multiple miscarriages in a row, this doesn't mean that conception isn't possible or healthy pregnancy isn't possible. It means that the body is keeping you safe. It's like, oh, no, we weren't quite ready to build at this level yet. We need more tools. We need more resources. We need more safety in the system. And the safety is, I think, the biggest aspect that's overlooked in many, many fertility journeys. So, if we're depleted, if we're congested, inflamed, overloaded, this is going to be more challenging for us sometimes. And I know that there's also those people out there who just, are popping out babies and they're depleted and congested and it doesn't make sense. And that's why the energetics of the body really come into play, and our belief systems and stress levels, I think, are really, really big on this as well. That can be one of the main blocks. So the body chooses quality over speed. What does that mean? Well, the body doesn't respond to age or timelines the way that we do, mentally speaking. It responds to minerals, hydration, oxygen, fluid flow. Pressure speeds the mind up, but actually slows the body down. So it's responding to internal conditions. And if the terrain isn't ready, the body slows reproduction. So even if your labs are normal, sometimes the body still says, nope, we are not ready. There's too much agitation, there's too much stress going on, and we need some more preparation. So if we're not in baby making mode, we're in preparation mode. And that's the first step of the mindset swap that I really like to get my ladies into, as far as there's no failure, there's no I can't, there's only preparation stage, and then baby making stage, and some steps that we go through the preparation stage. And I'll talk about that in a second. Um, so moving forwards here. So fertility is not a willpower issue at all. It has nothing to do with how hard you're trying, frequently speaking. Sometimes there can be some things that are tweaked that are key aspects. We're just not getting enough nutrition in our body. That can be the case. But frequently, this is because the hormones are responding to the terrain that they're in. It's not like, oh, my progesterone is off, so we need to add more progesterone in the body, which frequently this is a misconception with HRT and those sorts of things. Like, let's just put a band aid on it. But what comes first is not the hormones, it's the system that the hormones are responding to. So, this is the nervous system. What comes before the breath, before the heartbeat? It's the nervous system signal that's going out there. Energy availability. So, this is the actual energy of our cells, the ATP within the cell. And if the cell doesn't have enough energy, it can't spark that conception. Um, so we actually need to increase the amount of cellular energy in order for the conception moment to happen. And they've actually recorded this. So funny, my light just came on and on. I was about to talk about this light that happens internally in the body when conception happens and the egg and the sperm come together. There's actually a release of light particles that they've documented. And this is the spark of conception. It's a literal spark, and we need cellular energy to do that. Detox and elimination. Sometimes the body's just too clogged up. Mineral reserves. We burn through minerals a lot, especially if we're adrenally depleted, which means we could be more agitated and stressed out and have that like wired but tired kind of feeling frequently. Or we might need like multiple cups of coffee to get through the day. If this is the case, this means our adrenals are low and they need some support, and we're most likely burning through our minerals faster than we can replete them on some level. So that's another thing that I love to focus on with my clients is just getting enough healthy minerals in the body. Sometimes this is a game changer. Inflammation levels are a big one, and then fertility reflects the whole internal ecosystem. So that's really, we like to look at the body as a whole again. So the body's following a clear order too. So this is another place where I see people get confused is the sequence of events, because the sequence does matter. It's going to focus on cleaning and detoxing itself first. This is a natural function of the human body. And then it's moving into, okay, nourishing the cells, making sure we've got enough going on here with minerals and everything. And then it's going to work on rebuilding. So if we're dealing with something like hypothyroid condition that's affecting fertility, then we need to help the body and support it to clean and more deeply nourish so then it's ready to build. We can take these steps to get there. So if the cleaning and nourishment aren't complete, the body's just going to put pause on the baby making situation. It does not mean it's a no, it's just a pause. And this is biological wisdom. So let's talk more about pressure. So pressure thickens the lymph, it slows elimination. The kidneys and the adrenals work hand in hand to really support the body to eliminate cellular waste. All of our cells have to eat and then defecate just like we do. So when we're not eliminating, we're congesting, we're retoxifying. And the majority of people, at least in America, have some kind of kidney congestion going on. Just because we urinate doesn't mean that they're just draining every evening. So fertility requires flow, not force. So under pressure, the body diverts energy away from digestion, from detoxification, and then reproduction. So trying harder often increases this signal. Oh, looks like Chelsea's coming in. So, hi, Chelsea. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So we were just talking about a different way to interpret stuck and thinking about reframing this concept of prioritizing repair. And what if you're not stuck, but the body is simply prioritizing instead of putting pregnancy at the top of the rung, it's prioritizing something else. So we're going to work on the cleanup first, right? Then the repair, then the stabilization and regulation. When we get to that regulation zone, that's when usually the body's like, okay, we're ready for reproduction. So, what if being stuck in your reproductive journey actually just means preparation? You're in the preparation zone. Your body was designed to give birth and reproduce. So, it's just about supporting the systems to come back into balance. And sometimes we have to get the hair out of the bathtub drain, so to speak, so that you can drain that bath water out and fill it up with some clean stuff. Um, so a lot of times fertility can become a project for women and or a problem to solve or something to manage. And this is so different from the mindset of having a partnership with your body. You're in performance mode, oftentimes there's a lot of family stress that comes into this too, and the weight of obligation of like, oh my God, my parents want grandkids, or, I haven't done it yet, or I had a miscarriage, and now my husband is worried about the next. And there's so many different aspects that can just add a lot of pressure on this project, so to speak, when it just keeps not happening. But the body really has a hard time opening in performance mode. And really, the relax and release state is where we need to bring ourselves into in order to get into reproductive years and be ready for conception. So it's something that should never be overlooked. The body needs to be partnered with and not forced or pushed in this way, um, because it's such a natural thing that happens. But we have to encourage the opening, the openness of the system, the femininity, the receptiveness of the body. So effort does not equal capacity. And I just want to take away any feeling of blame here, because no matter what you've been doing, no matter how hard you've been trying, desire and effort cannot equal readiness sometimes, as far as capacity is actually physical. And we can want it so badly, but still not have enough capacity for this. So this physiological need can be filled with the minerals, with the re-energizing the cells in different ways, where we can recharge our body even with Mother Earth, like getting out in nature, getting our feet on the ground. I know in some places it's cold right now, but there's still ways to get the sun, the morning light in your eyes and really start re-energizing the cells. And then the nervous system regulation is huge. This is about 50% of the work that I do with my clients, because we are frequently so out of whack, and the nervous system does run the show 100%. So this isn't personal. It's physical resources. And when the adrenals are stressed out, the body diverts these minerals and hormones away from reproduction to survive. So fertility is going to wait until there's enough left, until we're in abundance, so to speak, in that zone. So regenerative fertility looks different. So this work prioritizes clearing the congestion in the body, really supporting elimination, rebuilding minerals, restoring nervous system regulation, bringing more calm and peace into your life, into your body on a day-to-day basis. So important. And then replenishing cellular energy from a root. Just like I was just saying, there's a lot of different ways we can do it, by the things that we put in our body, by getting outside, by exercising, breath work. There's a lot of wonderful ways to energize the cells. So then when we do all of this stuff, the next step, naturally, the body's just like, whoo, yeah, I'm ready. We're stepping into fertility. It's no longer a struggle or like something that we're striving to do. We are just in the natural state of being fertile, and it can become easeful. So there are 3 common signals that the body is in preparation mode. So if we're stressed out and we're like, oh my God, am I broken? I've been trying for so long, years, many women try for 8, 10, 12, 20 years sometimes, and still no baby. So these are just whatever you've been experiencing, whatever symptoms have come up for you, whatever emotions have come up for you, these are not problems. These are messages. They're messengers from your body and from your heart and soul as far as where you're at. And these are preparation cues, I like to say. Not things to fix immediately, but this is information for us to work with. So um, when we stop and we can take the time to actually slow down and listen to these signals, pay attention to the body. What is it actually telling me? What does it need on a day to day basis? Can I slow down enough to hear my own signals? This is part of the work that we do. But the signal number one is internal time pressure. So this is a big one as far as vigilance will block your fertility. And being in a hypervigilant state, adrenal overdrive, you just feel frequently stressed out, you're in go, go, go mode, can't slow down. Every cycle feeling urgent. Oh, Nikki's coming back in. So, urgency keeps the body in vigilance, not receptivity. So we really want to prioritize the whole de-stressing and nervous system regulation so that cortisol can come down and the progesterone estrogen balance can start coming into play there. Because otherwise ovulation will be deprioritized as well. The cortisol steal is a big thing. If we have too much inflammation or too much stress, then the precursor for progesterone and cortisol are the same building blocks. So cortisol is always going to take priority. So when we really take the time to regulate our nervous system and de-stress, then all of a sudden these things can start balancing out. And I know of women who have had miscarriages. A lot of times this comes around the, 11, 12 week mark, that 3 month time. And that's when there's a shift in the way that the hormones are being made and supporting the baby inside. And at that point in time, we really need our progesterone levels to be pretty solid and self sustaining in order to not lose the baby. So there's a lot of different ways to support the body, but if we take the time to do this work before we're pregnant and balance those hormones, then we don't have to worry about that progesterone steal and having our stress actually take our pregnancy away from us later down the road. So signal number two is chronic holding. I mean, similar to vigilance, this is a little bit more on the mental side of things of always carrying this responsibility of not giving yourself the deep rest that you deserve and need as a almost to be mother or new mother, or mama to be for a second time and or third or fourth or fifth. But the womb does mirror this. It mirrors what we hold. And emotional holding often shows up as physical holding, especially in the pelvis, especially in the uterus. Oh, here comes Ophelia. Yay. So the body stores what it doesn't feel safe to release. So fertility starts to open up when a release is supported. So if we're holding something emotionally, if we're holding something physically, this is why working through some trauma sometimes is part of this journey as well, because we can hold so much in the womb. And breathing into this, even just acknowledging what we're going through. Sometimes acknowledgement is enough to be heard and seen by the body, and then we can let it go. There's so many different stages of letting things go, but there's a lot of ways that we can encourage our body physically and then also emotionally. Hi, Ophelia. Thank you for joining us. So signal number three is disconnected listening. And I was mentioning this earlier of like actually, like, are we actually listening? Or do we hear something we're like, oh yeah, okay, I'll deal with you later, kind of a listening. Um, we all do it at times. I've done it so many times where I'm like putting my body on the back burner, so to speak, just because there's too much in life going on. And I get it. But if we are serious about taking this fertility journey and actually having healthy, happy babies and prepping our body as best as we possibly could before pregnancy for this, We need to start paying attention on a deeper level and listening to our intuition. Tracking isn't wrong, but rules can't replace listening. The body communicates through sensation and rhythm, and symptoms are early communication. So when we override them long enough, if we're just popping a Tylenol long enough, or something like that, the body's going to start screaming louder at us and being like, hey, pay attention to me. You haven't been listening. And fertility often requires us to listen earlier and for longer, not harder. So if we're frustrated on the journey, I get it. It can be so frustrating. It can feel so disheartening to not just be able to have what you want in the moment, and to not just have it be easy. I get it. But there is a process here. And when we can actually allow ourselves the space and time to heal, to listen, to pay attention on a deeper level, on a cellular level, really beautiful things can come out of this. So, the core principle that I'm coming back to is being met versus being managed here with the body, and really supporting these signals. And the body starts opening when we meet it and we partner with it and we're paying attention. So, safety isn't a mindset, it's a state of the nervous system that we need to cultivate on a regular basis. We can do this through tools and herbs and those sorts of things, but we can also do this through like EFT tapping, the emotional freedom technique, if you're not familiar with it, or breath work or meditation, these other ways where we are making it just a daily practice. Okay, this is my new normal. This is who I am stepping into so that I can be the mother that I want to be and I can have the body that I want to have. So, no amount of positive thinking can override this. We have to actually step out of fight or flight and into the rest and relax and digest state of being. I think that's more important than like any kind of detox work. Sometimes that's all it takes is for a woman to relax. And I hear a lot of times, or I've heard quite a few stories of women who have been trying and trying and trying and trying and trying, and then they stop trying, and then they get pregnant because they've been trying so hard, and finally they gave up and their body relaxed, and they were like, oh my gosh, what? I'm pregnant? How did this happen? So it is possible that even without any physical support, if we just work on that nervous system, if we just calm you down and bring you into a different state of being in your tissues in that way, that everything can shift from there. Sometimes that's the only block. Sometimes we need more support. So, as I've been saying, fertility requires partnership in the body, and intelligent partnership is with physiology. So, we're bringing the two worlds together. We're bringing the mind, we're bringing the body together, and the sequence of things matter. So if you've tried protocols before, you're like, oh yeah, I did all the things already and that did not work for me. You might have been out of sequence in some way. There may have been a missing piece of this journey for your system, whether it's the nervous system regulation or maybe a little herbal support or something else that was an element that was out of step. And that could be your why, as far as like, why haven't I arrived yet when I've been trying all of the things? So supporting this body order, the sequence of events is really important. So let's take a moment to shift into the body here. I just want to actually have an experience of tuning in because we so frequently are focused out. So if we can just take first, we're going to take 3 deep breaths together. And at the top of our breath, we're going to hold it for a second. We're going to sip in a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more so that we're like in super expanded state. We've got all the breath that we can possibly hold. And then we're going to sigh it out. And we're going to do that 3 times and just keep a hand on the womb and the heart space. And then I'm going to have you shift internally just for a moment. We're in a super safe space. You're off camera. You can be on mute. So just follow my lead here. We're going to take a deep breath in through the nose, holding at the top, sipping in a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and exhaling out. Let's do one more of those. Deep breath in through the nose, in. The Dipping a little bit more, and a little bit more, a little bit more, all the way out through the mouth. Last one, in through the nose, deep breath in, dipping in a little bit. And now close your eyes at the end, at the bottom of that breath. Just focus on your heart space and your womb space and imagining the air coming in and out of the lungs, maybe softening a little bit more, becoming aware of where the tension is, a little body scan. And breathing in deeper into your womb space. There's no right answer here, but I want you to just ask yourself, what does this part of my body need right now? Just keep the eyes closed and keep listening and just see what comes up. There's no judgment here. Approach yourself with love. Just be present. What does the body want to say? Maybe there's a little sensation. Maybe there's a thought. Maybe there's an image. Maybe there's an ache. Just acknowledging. And thanking your body for the message. Let's say, thank you, I love you, I accept you. And take a deep breath in. And let it out. So this is just an opportunity to shift internally and just feel that for a moment. So you can come out of that now. If you were closed-eyed, open your eyes again and come back to me, and we're going to continue with the presentation. But this is some of the work that I do with my clients on a regular basis, as far as coming into the body and listening, and coming into the body and listening, and reminding ourselves how much more is here, how much more information we have, even intuitively on a day-to-day basis, of what is going on inside of me and how best can I support myself moving forwards. And the body always will tell us something, maybe you're just thirsty. Maybe you need some rest. Maybe you need a hug. Whatever comes up, and some of these things might be unattainable at the moment, and that's okay. And if something came up that was negative, like, I just want to go and smoke a cigarette or something, like, I get it. It took me 5 tries to stop smoking cigarettes. I smoked throughout my teens and my mid 20s. And these are messages that, hey, I'm probably in fight or flight, like, and taking it out of a judgmental zone of things. If you did have a negative thought that came up that was like, oh, I want something that's not good for me, approaching yourself with love about that and being like, oh, look at you, you're stressed. Let's see what else I could give you today instead of that thing that would help you calm down in the same way, and working with yourself in that way. Always approaching yourself with radical acceptance, because that has made the biggest difference for me. My whole healing journey is giving myself love and patience and time and more patience. And that's probably the hardest part. Um, so moving on. Oh, I was supposed to be on that slide before. I'm sorry. Moving on to our next steps here. That was communication. So whatever you noticed was just information. The body speaks to us whenever we're in a safe state of being, when we can come into that relaxed zone of being. And sometimes it's really hard to calm the mind, but sometimes we can just tap in for a second. It doesn't have to be extended. You can just touch base and see where we're at. So put a 3 in the chat if you felt like you had some kind of communication with your body during that little exercise. There's just some little drop-in moment for yourself that was worth acknowledging. So what often shifts first before conception? So signs that, hey, we're headed in the right direction, because sometimes this journey can be so frustrating, right? And we're like, when is it going to end? How do I know if I'm progressing? Things that will come up that will tell us, oh, we're balancing out, we're deeper in our regular rest and digest zone of things. And this is better sleep, calmer cycles, improved digestion, reduced anxiety and PMS symptoms, and all those things that we don't want to be dealing with, unstable moods, going all over the place. And generally feeling more energy, feeling good in our tissues, physically speaking. The anxiety is a big one too. We really want to watch how much we are getting into that kind of wound up and tightened state. We want to relax. We want to step into as much easefulness as we can. And the more that we can let go and relax, the faster that we'll get to where we want to be. And I know it's very counterintuitive. So, this is what prepping the body really means. We're releasing the fear, we're releasing the urgency, which I know is so, 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 so hard. But we're restoring the internal terrain. It's going to feel better as you go along. It's going to be encouraging as you go along. And you're creating this internal terrain where life can be fully supported and you can actually have a healthy, happy baby. It's about drainage, it's about nourishment, it's about nervous system regulation. And then when these are in place, fertility becomes a natural expression. It's no longer a fight for getting there. So this is the beautiful state that I want to help everybody get into. So some women come to me, and they simply start listening differently, just like we were listening to our womb space a moment ago. Sometimes just honoring your autonomy is all you need to take away from this, and that's beautiful. Listening can really change everything. But some other women do want guided support. So this is wisdom, not weakness, and this isn't about your body failing you, but this is just about taking those steps and knowing what steps you need specifically for preparing well, for really giving your body what it needs. So I have an invitation to you for women who want deeper support. I do offer a regenerative fertility container. It's focused on restoring all of this that we've been talking about. So this is no pressure, no obligation. But if it's aligned, it is open to you. And I would love to have a one on one consultation with you to see if this is a good option for you. So, Fertility Revival is the title of my one on one container. And this is just a reminder that it's never too late for you. Never too late unless you're deep into menopause. And if you're here today, I expect you're not there yet. So you haven't been wrong. It's just about listening on a deeper level and really taking the steps in the right order to get you there. And when you feel ready, when the body feels ready, when it opens, and it will happen. It's just a matter of time. So I want to share a couple of testimonies, then we'll wrap it up. I want to drop my link in the chat for the Healthy Baby Discovery session if you'd like to have that with me. But B, she was trying for 8 years. She went on a regenerative protocol, and within 2 months, she got pregnant. Happened real quick. After 8 years, she was over the moon. Jessie was challenged with miscarriages and infertility for years. She conceived right after her regenerative detox. She has her baby's a little older now, but when she wrote this testimony, it was a 4-month-old baby. And Desi had 10 years of no birth control and trying. And within 8 weeks after her protocol, boom, pregnant. There we go. So this work works. And there's so much that we can do to support the system on all levels. So if you would like, please, let's find a time to talk about it and see what you've been going through, what you've tried already, what's worked or not worked in the state of getting you out of that fight or flight and into the rest and digest, and create some strategy for you. So let me grab my link here. I'm going to pop it in the chat because I would love to speak with all of you individually if you would like to spend some time with me. This is a complimentary session, and then we can talk about like what it actually looks like to work with me or what you would like to dive into. or if you're just curious about, regenerative health and this approach. So here we are. And please, now is a great time. If there are any questions for me, pop them in the chat or come off of mute and tell me what were your thoughts, inspirations, any takeaways that felt valuable to you, or I just hope to see you in the nearer future. If you want to grab that chat, the link is in the chat now for the Healthy Baby Discovery session, and we can talk all about you and what's going on. Any questions before we finish up here today? I'm so happy you all could make it. Thank you for spending your time with me this lovely Wednesday evening or afternoon or whatever time zone you're in. I know UK, it's got to be another time right now.
Hi, I just had one question. The the women who got pregnant, except for the one who had a 4-month-old baby, did the other two, they got pregnant, and did those pregnancies, were they viable and they
Yes,
had
yes,
births?
carried safely to term. Hmm.
Lovely.
And I
And
have one woman who just joined me a few months ago, and she just got pregnant too, and she's so far so good. She's on her 5th month.
oh, that's brilliant. And do you support women whilst they're pregnant as well, or only? And
Yes, 100%. I love to continue the journey as far as making sure that you're nutritionally supported and all of the things as far as keeping those stress levels down.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been really good doing this. I think it's come at the right time, because so many women feel that urgency, and you're doing so many things, but actually you're probably creating more stress in the body, just having that approach.
exactly. Yeah. And I'm happy to hear that that's your takeaway because again, above all of like the protocols and the supplements and the nutrition, I mean, all of this is helpful. But if we're super stressed out about it while we're doing it, then I don't think I think it's, almost more hurtful than helpful. Like we need to calm down and relax and really nurture that nervous system. And then when we're ready, like let's add the tool in. And that's where we start really making the magic happen with the reproductive system.
Mm.
Well, thank you, Tanya. I really appreciate you joining us today. And I'm happy to hear that you had some strong takeaways. And please, anybody grab the link in the chat if you'd like to. I'm going to close out soon. And also, you can visit my website if you want to learn more about me and my practice. I'll put that in the chat here too. And yes, I do have the recording, so I will get that up on YouTube. And as soon as it's there and ready, I can send out a replay to all of you as well if you want to revisit any of this. So thank you so much, and hope you have a beautiful night. Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm grateful to all of you.